Do you remember the Cracker Barrel shooting that happened here? It was actually an exit or two away from here. It was a woman who was in Cracker Barrel. Her name was Kate Allen, and she had her two daughters with her, Kayla and Carrie, and her estranged husband, Kevin Allen, was they went there. He was acting weird. She calls 911, says that he has a gun in the car. Police show up. He walks into Cracker Barrel with a shotgun. He shoots the wife in the head. This guy takes a shotgun, blasts his own two daughters, kills them. One of them died like a month later, has been in the hospital the whole time. But the brother of Kate Allen, the woman who was shot and killed along with her daughters, the brother, his name is Carl Jindra, he's suing Cracker Barrel. He says that Cracker Barrel, it was a lack of security.
Oh, wow.
He claims that Cracker Barrel is negligent, that they also did negligent hiring, resulting in the wrongful death of these three people and the horrible pain and suffering that he went through. Cracker Barrel, according to the lawsuit, was negligent by failing to safeguard its premises and protect its business invitees. There aren't too many restaurants that have armed security. I mean, you would have to have armed security everywhere then. If you run a business, you have to have armed security there.
We don't even have that in schools. Some schools are lucky enough to have cops in there.
You
but
don't
not
have
every
that
school
in
does.
most places.
No, I know.
Some
My
places
bank,
do.
there's not armed security even in my bank.
Good point.
Terry Gilbert is an attorney for this woman's husband. Good morning, Terry. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I have to say that on the face of it, this sounds... I have to be honest, this sounds like a ridiculous lawsuit because I put myself in the position of, as a business owner or a restaurant owner or something, how would they possibly foresee that this guy is going to come in and shoot the place up? I think he is solely responsible for this tragedy.
Well, I mean, obviously he's the one that killed the three family members, no question about it. But there is a principle in law that people who are in public retail establishments have an expectation of providing safety. It's not uncommon in law. And the lawsuit itself does not give all the details. I mean, the fact of the matter is that Kate Allen was begging for help from a manager there many minutes before he came back and started firing at the family. And the manager said, well, we don't get involved in domestic disputes, even though they were told to put him in the back or get him out in the back, put him in a place of safety, maybe a cooler or something like that.
Who told them that? The police?
She did. And
she did.
And this is before the police arrived. She was on a phone call with a friend, telling the friend, what should I do? He's threatening, and he may come back. And this conversation on the phone was brought up in the original AG's report. And then we went and talked to some witnesses and the person that she was on the phone with to confirm that the manager was on notice, that not only was she panic-stricken, was looking for help, but they saw the shotgun shell that came out of his pocket before he left. And so we think that just doing nothing was irresponsible, and that a big company like Cracker Barrel, which has hundreds, if not thousands, of restaurants around the country making millions of dollars, should be training their employees for these kinds of emergencies.
Well, Terry, but wait a second.
Well,
but I mean, you would then have to train employees for every eventuality. I mean, if there's a terrorist, because they're waitresses, not
no.
SWAT
There was a
members.
manager there, okay, and this is a big establishment. It's not like a little mom and pop store, and all companies do have these security measures. They have security teams that. I mean, there are basic fundamental responses to emergencies that may not work. Okay, I'm not saying they necessarily absolutely would have prevented it, But to do nothing is so irresponsible and reckless.
But this woman who was shot, she's the one who said, hey, can you put me in the cooler? The police didn't direct them to put them in the cooler.
They weren't there.
Right. I know.
The police had just been called. This was in that period of about 3 or 4 minutes when the threat was apparent, okay? The police weren't there. They were at the mercy of the people in authority at that restaurant who did nothing, who disregarded their well-being as well as the well-being of all the customers. And this is going to be, no one said this case is going to be easy, but it's important to call attention to the lapse of security that was there.
Well, you say, Terry, that businesses have, that there's an expectation that they're going to provide safety to their customers. Some, right. I would say that's stuff like properly lighting stairwells, that sort of stuff.
Access codes.
You would have to have armed security at pretty much every business to prevent this kind of stuff, right?
Well, I'm not saying they have to have armed security, although most bars have off-duty cops there. And I'm not saying that. All they had to do was get them to a place of safety and not leave them in the open restaurant where this attacker could come through the door. You saw the video, and confront them vulnerable the way they were.
If I came in, Terry, if you
ask somebody at a restaurant that you need help because somebody is sick or having a heart attack, and the manager says, "Well, we don't get involved in that." So would you like that?
They would call 911. I would expect that would be the limit of their responsibility.
You just don't stand there and do nothing.
So if someone, let's say you have a law secretary, a paralegal working for you, and her estranged husband comes into your law office and shoots the place up, kills people, are you then responsible for that, Terry?
No, because that case, every case has to stand or fall on its own facts, okay? So when you start throwing out examples here and there that are factually different than what happened here, we're saying in this particular case, with the information that we have now, that there is a potential claim for negligent failure to provide security.
Well, Terry, before I let you go, Terry, you said that this woman called her friend and asked, "What should I do? What should I do?" Did she call that friend prior to calling 911?
Yes.
Okay. So but
the 911 call went immediately after that conversation, and then we have a timeline because it's all on video.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. He was out in the parking lot, driving around, trying to get his gun. The police were already coming there and looking around the parking lot. They didn't even come into the restaurant. But there was a window of opportunity to take some very simple, reasonable measures to try to protect them.
Do you think that would have possibly put employees or other patrons at risk? Let's say they put her in the cooler and the guy came in with the shotgun and, he goes, get them out of the cooler. I'm going to blast this waitress here or whatever. Do you think that there could have been some potential downfalls for doing that? Don't you think?
Right. But, listen, that's all going to be flushed out in the lawsuit because we'll have experts in security and premises liability, that will talk about it and let the courts decide. Okay.
All right. Well, that's fair enough.
That's why we have courts to decide if there is some kind of negligence or not.
Sure.
Okay?
I agree with that. We'll let it play off in.
Listen. Nothing can bring these. It was a horrible thing. Okay, and we want to use this lawsuit as a vehicle to highlight in this crazy world that we live in, with people running around who are sick and mentally disturbed with guns in public places and in retail establishments, that there should be more of a heightened, responsible response to situations like that. To say we don't get involved, then that's just not an acceptable answer.
Yeah, I know, but
if the jury or the judge says, you don't have a case, then so be it. But we think that the family has a right to, in the honor of these people who died, to make sure that no stone is unturned, to make sure that their rights were protected.
All right. Terry Gilbert is the attorney for this woman's brother who has filed this lawsuit seeking. Is it $125,000 or is it?
No, that was a misprint in the paper.
Okay.
We did not set forth an amount.
Okay. So yeah, I was going to say normally you don't. It's just over
I
or
don't know.
above a
Somebody
certain amount.
that put that post out had it wrong.
So it could be potentially more than that.
Right.
Okay.
It has. You know, nowadays you don't put up amounts in the lawsuit. You wait till you get to court, and then it's decided.
All right, Terry Gilbert,
Thanks.
I appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
Thank you.